Hello everybody, it's Kevin here, and today I wanted to talk to you about referrals. Now, a referral to a DJ is really good because if I can get referred by a client, a past customer, or a vendor, maybe a venue, basically that is a sales lead that I got for free. And that lead can come to me with a recommendation, almost creating this pull effect where the prospective client really wants me. So that's a really good thing to figure out how to unleash for yourself as a DJ. So I had a couple thoughts about making sure that you set up these pipelines of referrals. And they kind of come under two big headings, if you will, or two big channels. One is past customers, and one is past vendors or vendors/venues that you've worked at or with. So first, let me talk a little bit about past customers, because basically, if you think about it, every time you do a DJ event, every time you perform at an event, or you help with a wedding or a party or anything that you DJ for, that is sort of an audition for potential future referrals. If you think of it that way, you really want to bring your best to every single event. And that's why my rule number one for getting referrals from past clients is do a great job. High quality, high, all of the DJ skills that you bring to the table, you want to bring your best every single time so that you will be thought of as, wow, this DJ really was the best. Okay, that's like step one. It's almost like table stakes, if you will. But then you have to go a little further, because if you're just the best, but you don't plant any seeds for referrals in the future, you won't get them. So I think it's really important to connect on social media. Now, of course, some folks might not have socials or might not give you their accounts or whatever. You might feel a little awkward, but I don't think so. I don't think it's very awkward. If you even ask them, hey, what's your Instagram so I can follow you? Or, hey, when we do some wedding pics later, I just want to tag you. Or, hey, what's your Facebook? Do you mind? Or you might even have connected with them originally through Facebook or something like that. It's not, I don't think it's awkward, and I don't think it's a problem to either connect with them proactively or even ask them for permission to connect. Also, you could think of different ways. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Snapchat would be a way you could connect, maybe LinkedIn, other social media platforms might be a good way. But be sure to connect somehow, because not only will that create a connection and show your clients that you care about them on a personal level, but also it can keep a long-term relationship with them. I see what my past clients are up to, and they're off doing other things, having babies, moving, and I help almost celebrate with them on those life moments. And that means a lot. It also keeps us connected and keeps me top of mind for them. So just an idea to connect with their socials. Now, also you want to be the DJ that gives the client or the customer a takeaway, something that remember you by, something that they'll say, oh yeah, I remember my DJ was so cool because X, they gave me X. And that can be anything. It really can be anything. So it doesn't have to be something physical, right? Or tangible. It can be something like, what I do is I give my couples a video of their wedding from the DJ booth, a little highlight reel, if you will. And I do that for parties. I do that for events, really anything that I'm DJing. I take a few clips with my phone and I put that together for them, and they love it. It's been a good vehicle for me to give them something tangible. Now, I know some DJs will hit record on their controller and record the entire event and basically give that on a USB stick or something to the client. Now, that's pretty cool, especially with toasts and things like that. Any of the audio that's running through your controller for a wedding or something where you might have speeches like a corporate event, that's cool. I think they would love to have that. It's professionally recorded through the microphone, through a mixer. Also, I know some DJs or even vendors, like a bartender I know just told me this, that they take a picture with the couple and then they send it to them just a little reminder like, hey, here I am. This is what I look like. This is me. And we had such a good time together, So, and that picture meant a lot. So something tangible or something to remember you by. Give them something that connects you and them. Okay, another thing is ask for a review. If you ask for a review with your couple or your client, basically you're saying, hey, I would love to have your feedback. And that just strengthens the bond between you and the prospective customer. The customer and potential future customers. Because basically if someone asks me, hey, how did that DJ do? Well, let's say it was a perfect evening, okay? And I'm asking for feedback. That just strengthens that fact that, hey, you know what? Not only was it perfect, but they asked me about my feedback. So that just makes it seem like you're really interested in the service you give. And it just proves the point that you're going to do a really good job and you want feedback so that you can do even better if you did have any kind of issues or whatever. So I think it's really important to ask for a review and try to get some feedback from any client that you work for. And then finally, make it easy for people to share information about you. Make sure they know things like, of course, they'll have your information from working with them, like a business card and things like that. But make sure that they have your social tags. Make sure that they know your website. Make sure that you've got some quick videos, either on your social media, your website, your YouTube, whatever, that they can easily link to and say, hey, look, Kevin, he's our DJ. He was great. Check him out. Here's a video. Here's a link. Make it easy for people to connect with you. Okay, so that's all about past client referrals. Next, I want to talk to you a little bit about vendor referrals. Now, this could be, I'm thinking of a venue most specifically. I think that is the best way to get referrals is if you have a venue that can say, hey, this DJ is great and you should book him. Or this DJ is on our preferred vendor list. That's great because if you think about it, if you think about the wedding process, the planning process, the venue's the first stop on the bus route, right? Like you're going to the venue first to get your date, to see if you can get in there and to book it. And then you're talking to photographers and other things. And DJs are usually further down the line unless you have some specific connection or there's some specific reason to go after you, which could be if you do a really good job with those past client referrals. They might start with you, like, when are you free? Because I want you. Anyway, so I'm thinking about venues, but also other vendors like florists, like wedding planners, like bartenders, like photographers, any of those that would be in the ecosystem of a wedding, you definitely want to be, you want to use some of these tips with. Also, I think it's important to think about it as you're building these business connections and relationships for a long game. This isn't just, hey, let's get through the night. This is, I might work with this person over and over and over again. After you get through doing many parties and weddings and corporate events, you start to see the same folks in your town. And that's great. But if you have a bad relationship or you don't have any relationship and it's just like a one-night thing, a one-night deal with the people that you're working with, then it's really not enjoyable and you'll never get any referrals. So make sure to think about it as a long game. So rule number one to get referrals from vendors is definitely make sure to do a great job. Same as rule number one with past clients, because if you don't do a great job, guess what? You're not gonna have, it's like table stakes. You're not gonna have any clout, or no one's gonna be able to, in good conscience, refer you to anyone. So that's step one for sure. Step two is connect and build relationships. Of course, follow them on social media. Of course, that's like, do that even before you get to the event. So you can kind of see the vibe that they put off. What do they do? Especially a venue, you wanna know like, what do their past events look like? What are people saying about them? These are just a few things about venues, but certainly any of the vendors you might work with, you wanna kind of check out. So that's a really good thing to do. And then make sure, along with social media, to build those relationships, tag them. Like whenever you're doing posts or you're saying, hey, congratulations to the new couple, tag the vendors that are there and present at your events, because that's going to show them some love and it's going to bring you into that little circle of, hey, we're the team that celebrated this couple or did this party or we did this nonprofit event together. And it's really going to create some camaraderie. So definitely do that. And I think if you go to an event or at a venue that you really like, or if you go to a place where you're working with some other vendors and you really like them, leave them a review. Go out there and find a way, either through Google or Facebook or the Knot or whatever you can do to leave them a review. That's awesome. Okay, especially, think about those folks that really mean something and you want to work with them again and again and again, and you would love to have referrals from them, or you love a specific venue. Definitely leave a review and talk about all the great things, because I tell you what, I as a DJ and as also sometimes a customer of services, I want to read all I can and I want to hear different perspectives. It's great to go on one of those review sites and say, hey, I'm a DJ and here's my perspective on this venue or this working with this photographer. People will love that, and the venue and the vendor will love that you did that. And that's just building relationships. Okay, third tip for building those referral channels with vendors would be to provide some sort of collateral. Now, you know this. You know that every time you would go to an event, you would leave some business cards at the end. But make sure you don't just leave them. Make sure you give them to someone and you say, hi, I'd really love to work with you guys. Again, it was such a pleasure. Here you go. And actually hand them these business cards. Make sure to email the vendor and give them any kind of information about your socials, your website, and make it easy. Again, you want it to be easy for anybody to find you and connect you and refer you. The business cards are great because, you can just obviously, you can give them a little stack and they can keep them in their office. And if they like you, they'll drop one in the client's bag, or they'll be talking and having a conversation with a client. Maybe it's a young couple and they're getting married and they want to know, hey, do you have any DJ recommendations? And sure, I do. Kevin was great and he's been great. He's been here several times. Here you go. Here's a business card that he left here for us. So that's super easy. You could go the next level with the vendors that you really trust and venues that you really trust, like one of the wedding planners that I work with and a couple of the venues I work with. I'll tell them pricing information, because that's really, really cool. If they can integrate almost doing some of the sales conversation for you while they're talking to prospective customers, it's amazing. That if you're at that level of a referral channel, that's amazing. They can obviously help you sell your service. So you don't want to give them all the details and all the, your options and all that good stuff. But if you give them a little information, that can go a long way, basic prices and that kind of thing. So you basically want to provide them collateral, and it can be information or it could be physical collateral about you. Okay, next thing is you want to show thanks to your venues and your vendors. So let's say you're at a venue and they've referred you a couple times during the year. You want to show thanks with a small gift. And that gift does not have to be anything huge. It can be a $20 little thank you, and just a sincere show that you appreciate their referrals. It's really, really a good idea to do that. Number one, it keeps you top of mind. Number two, it lets them know that you value that relationship and their referrals. And I think sometimes that can be, if you're creative with the gift, that can be an opener to get more referrals. So for example, over this holiday season, I gave out these little bitty lights, these little LED lights, and I made a video of it a month ago or so on my channel here. And if you have this little LED light in your office at the venue, and maybe it's a little centerpiece where someone might say, oh yeah, Kevin, he's so fun. He even gave us this little light, hey, it lights up, check it out. Ooh, it's lighting up the room. I don't know. It's just an idea that I think you should think about, to give some sort of thank you gift. I think it can go a long way. Okay, and of course that goes for shout outs or any kind of way that you can say thanks to your vendors and your venues, okay? Finally, I think you should always ask a venue, how to get on their preferred venues list or preferred vendors list. Not right away. You want to like go there a few times. You want to have some rapport with the staff, maybe the owner. You want to kind of know a little bit about the venue. And then you can go in and ask, hey, how do I get on your preferred vendors list? All venues will probably have such a thing, and it's really good to go in with some perspective and experience. If you go in cold and you just say, hey, I'm here in the market and I want to be on your preferred venues list, they don't know you from anyone, and they're not going to give you that they're not going to give you the chance to be on that list without some sort of proven track record. So you go in after you've already done some events, and you can kind of come in with a little bit of pride, like, hey, look, here are, I did these 3 events at your venue, and look, here are my reviews. I got 5 stars in each of the events that I did here, and I'm just really excited about your venue. Do you think we can make a more long-term relationship, and is there a way to somehow be added to your preferred vendor list? Now, there are some venues that have a pretty shady way of doing their preferred venues list, and I say it's shady, but maybe you'll think it's fine. But what they'll do is they'll require you to maybe come to their wedding show, for example, right? Like they might be a host for a wedding show, and they say, well, sure, we'll add you to the list, but you've got to buy a booth at our wedding show each year to maintain status on that list. Now, I think that's a little shady, and it really doesn't. It's really more of a buy your way into a referral, and I don't know if I'd be super excited about doing that and playing at events at that venue a lot. Now, I don't want to say that if a venue does that, they're horrible. I mean, I think it's just a business model and it's a mindset, but I think earning that referral will be so much more rewarding. And when a venue is talking about you to a new couple or to some sort of event host, if they're looking for a DJ, they're going to be more sincere if they believe in you and they know you're going to do a quality job and they know you're going to be great, and not just, oh yeah, hey, here's DJ Kevin. He's great. He bought a booth at our wedding show. Okay, see, that just doesn't hold enough water for me. But anyway, just a couple tips on how you can get more referrals from venues and vendors and also past clients, because those are gold. All of those referrals, if you could start up a pipeline of those really help you be a more successful business over the years, over the long game. And I think everything's more enjoyable because you're working at these places and with vendors and for past clients who have friends and family that you loved to work with. So thanks again for listening, and I hope I helped you out with a little bit of these tips about referrals, and have a wonderful holiday season. Thank you.